only at night.
On August of 1976, the bodies of a young man and woman were found in rural Sumter County, South Carolina, by a trucker. The two unidentified bodies would later be identified as 29-year-old James Paul Freund and 24-year-old Pamela Mae Buckley. For more than 4 decades, the couple had remained unidentified. Now, the killer is loose, and there are still unanswered questions regarding their deaths. The young couple had been traveling south and met a few people along the way, including an employee of the Santee, South Carolina campground. The employee claimed that the male murder victim introduced himself as Jock or Jax, and that both he and the young woman with him were from Florida. He later told the employee that he was the son of a doctor from Canada, and that both he and the young woman with him were from Florida. In 1977, a man in Latta, South Carolina, was arrested for driving while intoxicated. Police found a gun located in the suspect's vehicle. The gun was tested through ballistics, and it was later determined that the gun was used as the murder weapon. The owner of the gun obviously denied any involvement in the murders. Surprisingly, this individual was never charged. On January 19, 2021, the DNA Project announced that the couple had been identified as James Paul Freund of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and Pamela Mae Buckley of Colorado Springs, Colorado. They were both reported missing in 1975. They could have quite possibly met while hitchhiking around town. Police have a long list of possible suspects, and given the fact that the murder weapon was found by a useless drunk back in 1977, raises a lot of eyebrows and questions. If you have any information leading to the arrest of the murders of Pamela Buckley and James Freund, please call the Sumter County Sheriff's Office at 803-436-2000. That's 803-436-2000. Ask for Investigator Charles Bonner. You can remain anonymous. Johnnie Gosch was a well-liked 12-year-old young boy from Des Moines, Iowa. Johnnie Gosch's mother recollects Johnnie as being a kind-hearted child who showed kindness to other people as he grew older. His dad also remembers Johnnie as a non-problematic child who did anything for anybody. Johnnie Gosch would normally deliver his newspapers with his father, but on this specific day, Johnnie decided to just walk his route with the family dog Gretchen, not knowing that on this day, Johnnie would never be seen again. It was September 2nd, 1982, and Johnnie Gosch had started his normal delivery route, taking along his little red wagon filled with newspapers that were ready to be delivered. Sometime around 5:45, Johnnie was getting ready to start his morning route. It was said that Johnnie's neighbor Mike had been outside with a few other young boys who were getting ready to start their own routes when Mike grew afraid of this man that stood by the boys. Mike noticed that the unknown stocky man continued to speak to Johnnie. The unknown individual drove a blue two-tone Ford Fairlane. He asked Johnnie for directions. Mike then noticed another male individual following Johnnie while he proceeded to walk down his morning route. Some time had passed, and Johnnie's parents began to receive phone calls from customers who explained to Johnnie's parents that their newspapers were never delivered. That same morning, Johnnie's father decided to walk along Johnnie's newspaper route. Approximately 2 blocks away from their home, Johnnie's father found Johnnie's red wagon filled with undelivered newspapers. At this point, Johnnie's parents decided to file a missing persons report, and shortly after, a $90,000 reward was offered for the safe return of Johnnie Gosch, as well as a $10,000 reward if anyone had any information regarding Johnnie's whereabouts. A composite sketch of the alleged suspect was revealed, and as time went by, the neighboring town of West Des Moines, Iowa, grew more and more afraid of even allowing their children to play outside. All Johnnie's parents wanted was their 12-year-old son back home, safe and sound. 9 years later, a man by the name of Paul Bunaki came forward to tell his lawyer and the media that he helped kidnap Johnnie Gosch and was the first to molest Johnnie Gosch on films, part of a child ST ring. Paul Bunaki was a known abuse victim as an offender of trafficking crimes. Later on, a grand jury called the abuse allegations as they were dismissed. They saw Paul's accusations as a carefully crafted hoax, although Johnny's mother believed otherwise. She still fully believes that trafficking played a major part in Johnny's disappearance. Johnnie Gosch's mother believes that Johnny was part of a global trafficking ring, including young victims. This trafficking ring includes pedophilia and satanic abuse conducted by a hierarchy of individuals involved. It was said that about 6 months after Johnny's kidnapping, a young boy frantically approached a woman in her vehicle in Oklahoma, who was said to have been telling the woman that he was Johnnie Gosch and that he was in great danger. Moments later, the young boy was snatched and pulled back into a strange vehicle. Years later, a dollar bill was sent over to Johnnie Gosch's parents that read, "I am alive, Johnnie Gosch." To this day, Noreen Gosch believes wholeheartedly that the handwriting on the dollar bill was indeed her son's handwriting. Several more years passed, and on the morning of 1997, a young man visited Noreen Gosch's home. Noreen Gosch looked through the peephole when the young man replied, "Mom, it's me. Can I come in?" The young man, claiming to have been Johnnie Gosch, only stayed for a couple of hours, explaining everything that had happened to him from the time that he was first kidnapped. He explained that he couldn't stay since he was in great danger and made his way back out. Noreen Gosch believed the young man to have been her son. To this day, Johnny's mother hires private investigators to find her son. She has also wrote a book titled "Why Johnny Can't Come Home" and is very vocal on speaking about child trafficking all over the country, helping to delve into every aspect of the 1982 unsolved case. In this film, directed by Michael Galinsky, along with David Ballinson and Suki Hawley, the film speaks candidly with Johnny's mother, who speaks on her concerns and her reasons as to why she believes the case remains unsolved for more than 38 years. 2 years after Johnnie Gosch went missing, a young boy by the name of Eugene Wade Martin also went missing. Eugene was 13 years old at the time of his disappearance and went missing in Des Moines, Iowa. 4 years later, another young boy by the name of Mark James Warren Allen, aged 13, disappeared from the Des Moines, Iowa area and was last seen not too far from where Johnny was said to have been taken. In 2008, Noreen Gosch received an anonymous letter that contained disturbing photos of a few young boys that were tied up while laying on a bed. Noreen quickly sent the photos over to authorities. Noreen strongly believed that one of the boys seen in the photos was indeed her son Johnny. Her ex-husband thinks otherwise. If you have any information on the unsolved cases of Johnnie Gosch, Eugene Wade, or Mark James Warren, please call Des Moines, Iowa authorities at 515-283-4864. That's 515-283-4864. Or call Des Moines FBI at 515-223-4278. That's 515-223-4278. You can remain anonymous. On November 1st, 1980, a truck driver had been driving past Interstate 45 when he noticed a white female laying in a grass area north of Huntsville. The young girl had been strangled and viciously raped. On November 31st, 1980, it is said that Walker County Jane Doe had been spotted at several rest areas near Huntsville. She was spotted at a nearby gas station near the south side of Huntsville. She had been asking strangers if they knew how to get to the Ellis Unit, a known prison facility that housed around 2,000 male inmates at the time. It was reported that when an employee at a nearby truck stop asked where her parents were, she answered and said, "Who cares?" Several hours later, she was savagely beaten and sexually assaulted with a blunt force object. She was from the Rockport Aransas Pass area. An employee at the Hitch and Post truck stop restaurant gave the young Walker County Jane Doe written directions to get to the Ellis Prison Farm. Investigators believe that Walker County Jane Doe left on foot. while trying to make her way to the prison facility, but never made it. Her body was discovered on the following day near the Sam Houston National Forest along I-45 in Huntsville, where a truck driver passing by found her deceased naked body. Throughout the years, the case has been harder and harder to solve for detectives since all three witnesses who saw her that day all passed away. Some people speculate that Walker County Jane Doe might have been a young 16-year-old woman who is said to have gone by the name of Kate or Caitlin. According to two individuals with relation as being brother and sister, they showed a photo of a young girl that they had met in the summer of 1980. They met the young girl at a motel near Madisonville, Texas. At the time, the two siblings were both 10 and 12 years old. She claimed to have been from the Corpus Christi area of Texas and had been staying with a white couple in their mid-30s. Walker County Jane Doe is said to have been between the ages of 15 and 20, and at the time of her murder had been wearing a white blouse, yellow pullover sweater, and blue jeans. In 1999, Walker County Jane Doe had been exhumed for DNA analysis, but there still had been no matches found. There had been no family members found. If you have any information on the unsolved murder of Walker County Jane Doe, please call the Walker County Sheriff's Office in Huntsville at 936-435-2400. That's 936-435-2400. You can remain anonymous. On September 20th, 1986, a couple from Perth Amboy, New Jersey, discovered the partially clothed body of Jane Marie Prickard, killed by a shotgun blast to her back. Jane Marie Prickard was only 28 years old at the time of her death. Jane Marie Prickard was found dead in Blackbird State Forest, a park reserve in Delaware. Jane Marie Prickard was always an outdoorsy type person, as described by her relatives, and loved taking long walks outside while taking nature photos. Jane Marie's parents have always resided on a 38-acre farm near Maryland. This is where her love of horses and nature started. Her parents still have her beloved 1966 Datsun car, the car that she used to take cross-county drives by herself after completing college. At the time of her murder, Jane Marie Prickard worked at Brookside Gardens, a well-known botanical garden in Montgomery County, Maryland. She was pursuing her master's degree in botany at the University of Maryland's College Park campus. Her studies had continuously brought her back to Blackbird State Forest for the course of 3 years of research. On September 19, 1986, Jane drove a blue and white Chevrolet Blazer to the home of a close friend in Levies, leaving early the next day to Blackbird Forest. She arrived at around 7 a.m., parking along an access road south of Blackbird State Forest Road, and set up her equipment, stretching 30 yards into the woods. She had been finishing up on her research shortly before 10 a.m. That's when investigators believe that her data recording stopped. An unknown witness called police the Monday after Prickard's body was found. He claimed that he saw her while he was hunting squirrels in the forest. On the morning of her death, he also had claimed to have seen another hunter near her that day, describing his appearance to police. Police believe that there were several hunters at Blackbird Forest that day, ruling out an accidental shooting. Autopsy reports show that Jane bled to death from shotgun wounds to the left shoulder and neck. Her death was then ruled as a homicide. Around 300 people and DuPont Company techs conducted a detailed analysis of the shotgun pellets that killed Jane, but to no avail. The area was also examined and closed off for days. But once again, no evidence was found. Today, new DNA evidence is being used to hopefully find some clues in relation to Jane's murder. If you have any information on the murder of Jane Marie Prickard, please call 302-324-2856. That's 302-324-2856. Ask for Detective Robin Brown, or you can contact her at rbrown@wco.gov. delawareonline.com. That's rbrown@delawareonline.com. You can remain anonymous.